Checking connection. I'm live there. Okay. Hey, this is Keith Kelch with How to Build Your Own Home. And I'm going to answer a question. And it has been posed to me multiple times, and I've seen it on a lot of other Facebook pages and on a YouTube channel. My YouTube channel at How to Build Your Own Home gets this question a lot. And the question is, what are the steps to building your own home? And so I actually spent quite a bit of time listing all those steps, and what I created is a flow chart, and I got up to 147 steps, and I'm getting way beyond that. And it's really a flow chart. And then I started to realize my friends on social media are asking the wrong question. It's kind of like if you were to ascend Mount Rushmore and you ask, what are the steps to ascending Mount Rushmore? Or what are the steps to run your first marathon? Well, there's a lot of variables there, and if I were to explain them to you, it would take an hour and a half. And so what I want to help you understand is that's the wrong question. You should stop asking, what are the steps to building your own home? What you should be asking is, what's the process? What's the system? Why do I say that? What's the difference between a process or a system versus steps? Well, if you have a big project you're doing, it's a big undertaking in life, and it has 1,000 steps. Let's say it's 500 steps. Well, a lot of times we can't take all those steps in one day. It's just too hard. Uh, there are some days when, oh wow, we've got a lot of big steps coming up, or a big, huge step we've got to take, and it's a big one. And then we get ready for that, and there may be even some small steps before that. But just to try to figure out all the steps necessary to build your own home, you're ignoring the process. You're ignoring the system. And systems and processes break up steps. They break them up into chunks deliberately because you now can function properly. You can see the process, you can see the system, and then you can see that, well, I can take a lot of those steps myself, and then you can realize, ooh, I can't take those steps. Those steps are a little too hard. And so I want to really communicate to you what a process is and what a system is. For example, if you wanted to open up a burger joint, okay, I just want to open up a burger joint, and you don't have a system in place or a process, you are going to stumble and you're going to fall and you're going to skin your knees and you're going to lose some money and you're going to believe what somebody tells you on the real cost for a fryer. You may be using the wrong oil, all kinds of things. But what if somebody came up to you and said, hey, I got a system for a burger joint. Works great. Lots of people like it. And it makes good money. And they said, what is it? Yeah, it's called McDonald's. Or it's called In-N-Out Burger. We've got an In-N-Out Burger here in my place, in my community. Great system. They do it great. A lot of others understand that system, and they go and duplicate it with some custom burger joints. We've got maybe 7 different hamburger places in my town. And they all have their own system, but the thing is they have a system. They have a process that is successful. And they've worked out bugs, they've worked out issues, and they know how to cook a burger. They know the steps involved in the burger. They know where to get some good meat, where to get some good buns. If they don't, they make their own. Who knows? So the real thing that you want to ask is, what's the system to building your own home? Now you're asking the right question. You're asking, okay, what are the chunks of steps involved in that? Well, that's what I spent a year and a half, it's almost 2 years now, building at How to Build Your Own Home. And I put everything into chunks of steps. For example, when you look at this flow chart, which I include now in the program that I offer online, I give you steps, whether it's slab on grade, stem wall, or a, or a basement, walkout basement. Each one of those is completely different. What are the steps with regard to this kind of roof versus that kind of roof? It's all different. I have a client who wanted vaulted ceilings, but the engineer put some posts in the middle of the living room and put an LVL beam in there to help support the roof. And it was making everything look awkward. The whole living room was crowded. They didn't have the open space they wanted. All because they weren't thinking about different types of roofs that they could put on. The roof they wanted was a tile roof, and it was over 800 pounds per square, and so they needed engineering to accommodate the weight of the roof and still have some open space, but they had to have an LVL beam in there to support it and all that. And so I says, what if we just change that step? You remove that, put a different type of roof on. It's much lighter weight. Solved the problem, eliminated the LVL beam, and then they were able to move forward. So steps are micro. They're little bits and pieces that fit together in a whole concept. And you have, say, excavation. There's lots of micro steps in excavation. Concrete, lots of micro steps in concrete. And I have checklists for every single one of those steps. Some of those steps have 5 pages. Framing is multiple pages, and I've broken those out as well into individual steps. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that if you were to ask, what are the steps to understand all the math there is in the world, and you start off with algebra and trigonometry, and before you even do that, you need geometry, so you have a spatial understanding of math. And before that, there's arithmetic and all that. And it's a line upon line process. It's a piece upon piece. And if you are willing to see a whole process, then you're going to see the steps a lot more intelligently. If you're looking for a process, if you're looking for a system, that's what businesses look for. That's what a good business operator looks for. They're looking, if you were a person and you had a couple $1,000,000 and you wanted to go invest in a business, you are going to look for a business that has the best system, the best process. And that means success. You've got people implemented that can slide right in. They know what to do. This is their job. This is their task. For example, I'm moving into LEED certified instruction, or actually LEED certified building. And I've been studying all of the requirements with regard to being a LEED certified builder. And there are a lot of steps involved. And just as I was trying to become a general contractor, I had to go through a lot of steps to take the legal courses. I had to go through a lot of steps to take the exam. I had to go through 4 years of experience, and then I had to have 2 of those years. They had to be in a supervisory role. And then I had to have documentation with paychecks and pay stubs to prove that I was in a supervisory role, signed off by another general contractor. And it's not over yet. I had to prove liability and bonding and insurance, and it was not fun. But once I got through that, I felt, now I understand the system. Now I understand the process. And sometimes we don't understand the process until afterwards. And nobody pulled me aside and said, this is what you need to do. I was just seeing a friend today going through the process of becoming a general contractor, and he didn't know a lot of stuff. And so I had to walk him through that. Here's the big secret, and I'm going to kind of be as honest as I can. A lot of people are going to print up steps, and you're going to see a lot of steps. So here's the steps. But most people keep their system hidden. They keep it in their pocket. They don't tell you the process. They don't tell you how they've figured things out. They keep that to themselves. We didn't used to be like that as Americans. We used to share our process. We used to share our system. And I learned a vital lesson years and years and years ago when my parents were trying to raise their own hog. They had a restaurant, they had a hog, they named it Barbara after one of their employers. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't say that, but they named the hog, the pig Barbara. And she became big. I mean, a big, big pig. And they didn't know how to breed her. They didn't know the process. They didn't know when she could breed and how to do it. And they went everywhere to try to breed her, and nobody wanted to show them how. It was sad. But through persistence and struggle, they eventually figured it out and met with someone who says, yeah, just come on over. I'll kind of show you some of my system, some of the process. Well, they did, and she eventually had little piglets, and she was huge because she was getting restaurant slop. And that's some of the best food you can give a pig because they get really, really, really big. And she was one of the biggest pigs at the auction. And so, all hats off to owner builders because once you learn the system, once you got that system down, you feel like, oh man, I just built my own home. Yeah, it was a headache, but once you get done with it, you say to yourself, I can build a home. I'm a builder. And that's the neat thing about being an owner builder is that you now know you can build a home. I mean, you manage the build. I want to tell you another secret. A lot of general contractors, they call themselves builders. I know one builder that was just a plumber for a couple years and said, you know, I'm just going to build homes. He became a paper contractor and he does custom homes in town. He doesn't have any other trade under his belt, didn't really come up through the trades other than through plumbing. And he calls himself a builder. Even if he didn't have any experience in plumbing, he just calls himself a builder and really doesn't have any other skill other than being able to do that. And I'm not knocking plumbers right now. But what I'm saying here is that you can call yourself a builder too. But you have to have a system. And that's what he has. He has a system for building high-end luxury homes. But really his system is a marketing program. And his marketing program is all about making people feel good in the initial process, what they're going to get and all the benefits, what they get for their build, and how he's organized and he's budgeted and all these types of things. And then I've seen a lot of builders like that. Once they get the client in a contract, they hand that client off to one of their site supervisors, and they're off to the next client. They're off trying to market that next client. And so that client thinks that builder is going to manage and control their home and quality check it. And it's not necessarily the case. It doesn't necessarily work that way. So they hire on-site supervisors, and some of them are great. Some of them are just greenies with very little experience, and some have some experience. Some have very little experience. But sometimes we get locked into or get sold a marketing system and not an actual construction system. So I don't want to belabor this. I just want to tell you that find a system, find a process, and that's the secret juice. In any business, it's especially the secret juice in learning how to build your own home. Where's a good process that will help you through becoming an owner builder? Now you can check mine out at How to Build Your Own Home. I've got a system I've put in place. It's taken me a long time, but I've taken everything I learned from education, 25 years of education, and learning how to teach with 25 plus years of construction. I put it all together at How to Build Your Own Home. Now I have a little simple primer course. It's only $15. It's a course on thinking about being an owner builder. So if you're thinking about being an owner builder, it's about 12 modules. You can get through it in about 30 minutes. I don't waste time. I get to the point, and I have downloads and PDFs with some formulas that you can figure out costs on a couple of things and that kind of stuff. And then if you're interested, I do have a system. Excuse me. I was with the chainsaw earlier, trying to cut down a tree, and the chainsaw didn't start. So I was not happy. I wanted to get that tree done and pulled out, and I got some pollen in me. But I do have a system, and it's only $375 right now, and it takes you through the entire process. Helps you have all the checklists you need for everything you imagine, even this flow chart, ready to go budget, draw sheets, subcontractor agreements, video instruction on everything, a lot of insight on a lot of stuff, more downloadable files, you name it. And I'm constantly improving that system. I'm finding out that I've bitten a big, huge elephant, and I'm chewing that elephant in bites and pieces, and breaking that elephant into the here's the joke is, how do you eat an elephant? Of course, one bite at a time, one step at a time. So I've broken things into steps. And when you have multiple steps and you have chunks of steps and they're all appropriately lined out, you have what's called a system. You have a process. And I want to build and promote the best system, the best process for building your own home, managing your home without a general contractor, and thereby you can save thousands, tens of thousands of dollars by not hiring a general contractor and being your own builder. That's the difference between what are the steps to building your own home and what's the process. Start asking what's the process. In any business venture, in any big challenge in life, what's the process? What's the system? And you're going to ask the right question. And when you start asking that question to local builders in town, they're not going to want to tell you. Well, I don't know. I don't know what you're asking. Yeah, they know. They know what their system is. If they're good, they'll know what their system is, and they're not going to want to share it. Well, I'm sharing mine. I'm going to give it to as many people as I possibly can at the most affordable price. So check out howtobuildyourownhome.com. Again, this is Keith Gausch. Thanks for listening.